Welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Upper left hand corner we have Bonyth starting as the yellow Protoss. Bottom right corner we got Dewalt starting as the pink Protoss. It is of course Fighting Spirit Mania, and if you did not enjoy the last game, you do not enjoy StarCraft. That was a great series. So I looked it up in between, and looking at the replay dates, it looks like about the way they decided to do this is once a week they played out a set. So that might be, so basically per set you can see the shifts potentially in fortune, in skill, in preparation, and things like that. So they basically, so week by week over, I don't know how long, because I mean we're not even done yet. This could, anyway. But looking at the dates, it looks like it was like December 1st. Then they would play the next one December 9th, and they would play the next one like December 18th. So it looks like they were doing like a set a week to try to space this out to make it not too crazy and laborious. Because, you know, wondering actually out of this entire Fighting Spirit thing, who managed to sit down and grind out the most games in, like, first of all, obviously these guys are going to have like the most games under their belt out of the end of the whole thing. But I'm wondering who, like, what two players sat down and played each other for the longest period of time. I think this might be a double gate for Bonyth and at cross positions. I will see if it's successful or not. We have seen Bonyth oftentimes go for that 3 Zealot investment and then cancel. And if I recall, Dewalt had kind of a trick of a build. Never mind. Dewalt going for 2 gate. So 2 gate versus 2 gate this time. Cross map scout for Bonyth. Is it going to be a cross map scout for Dewalt as well? And this could get tricky. And now my other question, oh, Dewalt going to go top right. So Bonyth going to get the scouting advantage with this. Now, my secondary question is does he immediately drop gas? Like even before the Zealots, like just go straight gas in response to this? Or does he, recognizing, yeah, that was huge. I'm going to guess this game's probably going to go to Bonyth as well. Just because he knows after he gets the initial, he can delay some Zealot production a little bit. Because first of all, Dewalt hasn't found him. Second of all, yeah, there he's dropped the assimilator earlier. He's just got the superior information to know, okay, I just need to hold off the initial gate pressure. And that also must be frustrating for Dewalt, knowing that it got scouted. And a gas steal. So forcing the dedication now. Well played. Now I kind of want to speed this one up. And Dewalt still not finding the scout. So top right, now going to go bottom left. So absolutely deleterious effects here of that early game scout from Bonyth. And he still has the opportunity to go for some manor pylons out in the main. The 3 Zealots making their way out. And it's just going to have to be Zealots from here. Like that's just the reality of kind of this build order now. Yeah, found nothing bottom left, so he knows he has to go top left. But all it takes is 2 more Zealots and a shield battery, and that should be sufficient. More than sufficient. And honestly, Bonyth can just keep building Zealots if he wants to, if he doesn't want to bother with the shield battery. He just has to hold at this stage and make sure he gets more gas. And also I like that probe blockade for a little bit of time. Probe working its way on the assimilator. Looks like it's just going to be a 4th Zealot, and Dewalt going to try to work on that assimilator. But having that much earlier a gas is such a huge advantage. I guess what Dewalt could do, yeah, he can drop the Nexus underneath this. That's kind of another option. Zealots trying to trick their way, instead just peeling off about 30 shield, and Dewalt going to be sent home. He's going to leave 1 Zealot to kind of scout things out. But the other trick of this is Bonyth knows that the turnaround, especially with the fewer Zealots attacking the assimilator, he knows that he knows the build order just raw. It's like, okay, I know you went 2 gate into expansion effectively. You don't have any Dragoons. 3 Zealots going to go ahead and, oh, this is kind of tricky. Dewalt actually moving that Zealot out to the north to maybe create some chaos. So Dewalt kind of getting relegated to dropping a forge instead behind this. So gonna have to drop some cannons to provide some baseline defense against the Dragoon follow-up. Bonyth gonna go ahead and initially drop his Nexus. He's got that Cybernetics core up, but in firm control of this match. So Dewalt up in supply, but that supply is Zealots that are not gonna help him out all that much. Moving out a probe, actually. This is tricky. So he's sending another probe scout out to try to draw the Zealots away. Did Bonyth? Okay. So yeah, he's trying to, oh, the Zealots on hold position, so never mind. Are they going to get up? So he sees the Dragoon right there. Not able to, so, but well worth it. So he sees the Nexus, and that Zealot's still trickly at that 12 o'clock location. So saw that it was an expansion as well. So oddly enough, actually a little bit of a, so minus the cannon, the big disadvantage now for Bonyth is effectively in the Dragoons, in the gas. Only a Dragoon making its way across. The Zealot looking to find, unfortunately, I don't know that it's going to find anything. Bonyth sleeping at the wheel though, and the Zealot able to make its way into the main. Now he's able to react. I don't know how much the Zealot's going to get done though. We got 2 Dragoons alongside. He's able to at least see range and confirm. Wow, actually got a huge amount of information out of that though, which opens up some build orders for him actually. And I also want to note that he's dropped that second gas very rapidly to try to close that gas disadvantage in the space of this. So now he knows exactly how disadvantaged he is and what the build is to follow. Dragoon making its way out, going to be able to get yet another probe. A couple probes donated, but Dewalt, you know, with a little bit of an economic lead, he's down several Dragoons, but he does have these Zealots on the front. This probe was able to sneak out to the 6 o'clock. We'll see if it's it. I would love to see proxy robo actually from Dewalt in the space of this. Dropping 2 more gateways to try to filter in that Dragoon count as rapidly as possible. Dewalt actually doing a pretty good recovery in the space of all this, considering what a disaster the early stages of the game were. So 3 Dragoons versus 2 and some Zealots here on the front. I don't know that Bonyth able to get some damage on that initial Dragoon. He needs to be a little bit careful with this because the Zealots are close enough. I'm curious actually to see what the recovery situation is out of this. Now the Dragoon count's going to be close to even. Dewalt unfortunately is going to be down Dragoon range, so he still has to sit away for a chunk of time. And this is 5 Dragoons, and this is when it kind of gets a little bit scary because they can peel away at those cannons pretty rapidly. Probe checking that 9 o'clock, finding nothing. I wonder if it's going to make its way out to the 12 o'clock or if it's still going to try to slide underneath to get some additional scouting information in the space of this. But Bonyth, so Bonyth actually, supply counts are even. More Zealots are out there. It looks like it is going to be earlier robotic support bay because Dewalt trying to pump out, but a Citadel of Adun and Zealot leg speed with an earlier Zealot leg speed could be a really big factor. And if this turns into proxy robo at the 12 o'clock, okay, looks like not. Just checking to make sure an additional base wasn't out there. So now range is finished. +1 weapons is finished because of is going to finish because of earlier forge, and potentially. Though I don't know that it's going to be that big a factor because without Zealot leg speed, the Zealots oftentimes +1 weapons works really, really well for Zealots. It's okay for Dragoons, but really, really good with Zealots. So maybe he can box Bonyth in here and make something happen, which it looks like he's going to attempt to. This is before +1 weapons is finished though, and coming in a bit scattershot as well, but maybe feeling like, okay, I need to force something because of other disadvantages. And now, yeah, turning right back around. Pylon block at the 12 o'clock location. Another probe scooting out. Dewalt actually is up in the overall economic. He's down tech, but he's actually up as far as just raw tech. And he's so 4-gate robo versus what's going to be 6-gate, 7-gate, 7-gate, 8-gate, 8-gate Citadel of Adun, Templar Archive. So he's going to be down the scouting information. Unfortunately, that this is going to be troublesome. Bonyth up a massive amount of supply, by the way, in between. Psystorm does equalize that. But yeah, now Dewalt's going to need to survive potentially. How did Bonyth? That should shrink. It's because of the gateway flood. That should shrink briefly. But now the problem is Bonyth has moved in. He sees the 8 gates. And he's going to be able to scoot down and see the Templar Archives, etc. So all he needs is to make sure he's got sufficient Reavers out and positions his Reavers well enough. I got to give it to Dewalt, though, for finding a way back into the temp, at least make this look competitive. Like, he's actually up in workers. He's got an opportunity. Depending. You can actually see the Scarab damage being upgraded, which will negate a lot of Dewalt's advantage with the Zealot leg speed. So it'll come down to, this is really going to be the trick of it. Can the High Templar find the Reavers and get the Reavers out of the way? Because if the Reavers are out of the way, that opens up the Zealots with the Zealot leg speed and that +1 weapons, maybe +2 weapons by the time this all goes down, to be able to press into the opponent. And Zealots on top of Dragoons, absolutely, they shred. But if the Psystorm is not, if they're not able to find, Observer out, able to clear that out, by the way. If the Observer army's been spotted on the move as well. If he's not able to find the Reaver, or if Bonyth donates this attack force, actually, is the other trick of it. So making his way up, I think, to make sure a couple pylons out there that are getting donated from Dewalt to provide some scouting information. But that'll be the big trick, is do the High Templar eliminate the Reavers? But right now I'm a little concerned for Bonyth. Okay, Shuttle making its way out without Shuttle speed. Okay, so he isn't going to get Psystormed. If he got Psystormed out in the field there and provoked a fight before the Reavers were there, that could have been a problem as well. But I think he knows the timing of this. So Zealots have Zealot leg speeds, +2 weapons about halfway finished. The Observer sidling forward, it's going to see that army making its way in. Is also, so it's going to lose its life, but sees at least an idea of the shuttle positioning. Pylon wall at the 6 o'clock. And Dewalt scouting out, able to get some Psystorm out on that army. Oh, and able to hit the shuttle. That'll be critical. Oh, and taking some hits. The shuttle is just got 5 health left. That is a sneeze away from dying. And again, that could be the shift in this match. The Zealots making their way up. Another huge Psystorm. The Reavers are to the rear. And Dewalt's going to pull back and force Bonyth to come to him. Another huge Psystorm over the Dragoons. And now Bonyth just lost the shuttle for nothing. And Dewalt, with that turnaround of obliterative Psystorms and the Zealots able to get on top of the front line of Dragoons, is now in a crushing advantageous position where he's getting the 6 o'clock base up and running. He's got a huge supply lead. He's going to have +2 weapons when he decides to engage again versus +0 with Zealot. It looks like Zealot League speed is going to finish for Bonyth, but he's just not going to have a lot of Zealots on the ground. And there's going to be more Psystorm to press into this. Holy cow. And this, keep in mind, this was off a early 2-gate being, this was at a scouting disadvantage. The Observer able to at least see the position of the army. Bonyth now checking top right just to make sure an additional base wasn't snuck out there. But now all of a sudden it's Dewalt's game to lose. 30 supply up, 6 o'clock base, 2 cannons there as well. As Bonyth made motions, he's got the skeleton of a pylon wall. Zealot's going to run up to the 9 o'clock to swat a probe sitting there, and Bonyth just sitting. He's going to tack on 2 gates, but I think it's too late. 50 supply advantage already. And he's down. Does he have Reavers at least? He's got a Reaver right this second. He's got a Reaver and a shuttle. I don't think that's going to be sufficient with all the Psystorm that's now been stored up. So 12 o'clock base, Zealots getting on, the Zealots not leading there. So the Zealots able to get on top of the Dragoons once again. Some Psystorm exchange in between. There's a bulkhead now at the 12 o'clock base. Although Dewalt might be donating, look at the, yeah, this is bad. The Dragoons getting cornered with the Zealots. So Dewalt actually might be able to fan his entire army up there if he wants to. 2 Dragoons for free right there, fanning right back out. So he's denied bases to the north and to the 9 o'clock now, and he's got a rally point making his way across. This Reaver is going to be able to get to the north to help deal with the, oh, never mind, no. Dewalt just going with an assassination force, splitting the difference, making his way up, going to Psystorm everything between, pin that Reaver back, dropping more Psystorm on that Reaver, and that is going to cover it. We do have 2 Archons making their way up, which are pretty beefy, but with the +2 weapons and those Zealots, that's just not going to cut it. There, so yeah, some splash damage, but not with all the Psystorm left over. GG! And Dewalt takes this set and stays alive. The score set is tied 3-3. And we're going to the final best of 7 for what is maybe the first set. This is the lower bracket final. There will still be the upper bracket final after this if Dewalt wins the next best of 7. So we're going to reset. Buckle up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.